Yep.
Monochroma is a puzzle platformer from Istanbul-based developer Nowhere Studios. The game was kickstarted sometime in 2013 for, I think their initial goal was $80,000, and I think they maybe hit like 86,000. Story about two brothers flying a kite. When you look at it, if you're familiar with a former Xbox Live Arcade, Summer Arcade game, and indie darling. I think it's Play Dead Studios. Anyway, your first thought might be, hey, it looks like Limbo, but it is it is a very different game. But it is dark and kind of depressing. But yeah. Anyway, it's a story about two brothers in an alternate 1950s, 1960s world. And they're two young kids playing around, as kids tend to do. Unfortunately, the younger brother takes a spill and can't move. And despite seeing the keyboard prompts on the screen, I play with an wired Xbox 360 controller. And this kid really has some real upper body and leg strength, because he just carries his brother around regardless of whatever else is going on. He never seems to get tired. He really loves his brother. You can only leave your brother under direct light. If you attempt to leave him under any other condition, he will shake his head and just cling to your back and won't move. And you gotta keep him safe, along with yourself. And as you go through the game, you'll see billboards and things that tell you a story. There's no direct dialogue. You kind of have to put things together for yourself and kind of make your own interpretation as to what you think is really going on. And all the while you're doing that, there'll be plenty of puzzle platforming to do. Manipulating objects, pulling on levers and switches, making elevators rise and fall. A lot of that. Some puzzles are trickier than others, but I'd say most of them have the appropriate amount of challenge. And then fairly early on, you come across a scene like this, which is quite disturbing for obvious reasons. You'll encounter a character whom you will see repeatedly in the game. And some of the loading screens kind of show some of the propaganda, which sort of paints a picture on how the world became the way it is. Later on in the game, you actually encounter some of the robots that you see in many of the ads and billboards and things. They pose no threat to you, and as you just saw him shake his head really quickly as I tried to put him down. I thought the lamp above was enough direct light, but younger brother demands quite a bit of light. Brief sections where you get a chance to control them, but there's not a whole lot of that. As you make your way through the game, there'll be some portion of the game where you aren't with your brother, and those really rely on a lot of just pure, it's all puzzle platforming, but just a lot more running and jump, because when your brother is on your back, you do move a little slower, and you can't jump quite as high. And for some reason, in all the hours of gameplay I captured, I wasn't able to find any of the rose sections. There are hidden roses you can find in the game as well. I think I found more towards the end than I did at the beginning of the game. As you progress, you'll just encounter more and more puzzles that you'll have to solve as you make your way through and try to figure out what is going on in the world. It's an eerie game. It's got definitely a creepiness factor to it, but supposed to. And the fact that they leave it kind of open to your interpretation makes it all the more interesting. So that's Monochroma.